Hey guys, Buzz here from the Boost team. If you made it this far, you are probably familiar with Autoboost, so today we're going to show you how to handle mirror columns. As you know, Monday is a bit lean when it comes to mirror columns. You cannot easily set a value to a mirror column. You cannot easily trigger an automation when mirror column changes. And with Autoboost, you can do both of those stuff. So today's example is going to be, firstly, we connect an item to a connect column. And basically, when the connect column changes, that's the trigger. We are going to take the mirror column of the timeline just by clicking on it and setting it up to the local timeline column. So as we just saw, by simply connecting an item, this causes the Autoboost recipe to trigger and to take the value from here and set it up right here. There you go. Let's simply add another item just to make a cool timeline here, and then Autoboost triggers again and takes the value from here, set it up right here to create the same timeline. So the other cool thing that I want to show you is how you can do the same, but when the actual mirror column changes. So for that, we have this formula, which is a Monday formula column. And soon enough, Autoboost is going to read this as well. So when the actual timeline end date is before the planned timeline end date, this means we are on track. But if it's not, then we're delayed. So in this example, February 20th is before March 26th, then we are on track. But what happens, and this is why I have this recipe, when this actual timeline changes, and this is a mirror column, there it's just going to load all the mirror columns that we have on the board. When this actual timeline changes, we're just going to take it and put it locally. And that's the same as the old recipe. The only difference is the trigger. So now we have two triggers that perfectly sync together to update the local timeline column from the mirror column. So both by connecting an item and changing directly the mirror column. So let's take this end date and push it by 2 months. So soon enough, this is going to be February 11th until April 20th. And this means it's going to be delayed. So there you go. This formula just is delayed now. And another Autoboost recipe just copy this and puts it here. And this recipe is a very cool recipe that when the local timeline changes, we are taking the value of an actual formula column, which is a Monday formula column. And this is loading all the formula columns that we have. And we set the value anywhere locally, obviously based on the types, but this is a text, so we're just putting it in a local status column. So once again, populating the mirror timeline causes the recipe to trigger and put it here, and then the formula indicates that it's now delayed. And once this column changes, it's taking this value and applying it here. So this helps us being able to track what happens on timelines on other boards. Okay, so another very cool Autoboost feature that we have is the ability to apply a result to a mirror column. And for that, we are simply going to connect an item, take the value from the mirrored numbers column and apply it locally. Then this will cause another Autoboost trigger to take this value, subtract it with this value, and apply it strictly here, as we've just seen. And this is how we do it. We have this recipe. When the local numbers changes, we are using this minus function, which is just like in Excel, just like in a native Monday formula column. It expects parameters. The first one is the mirror column budget, and we're subtracting it with the local number that we've just changed. The value will be applied to a budget left, which is the mirror column. And the template here is apply result to mirror column. So let's do it again, just to see it happening again. Adding an item, this will be applied here. and then the recipe will trigger again, subtracting this value from here, applied to the mirror column. Now, let's give it a sec. There you go. Now let's take a look at another chain reaction that we can use. So right now we have this formula column that actually checks if we are simply above or under budget. So the formula is pretty simple. We are taking the budget left mirror column, and if it's above the budget, we are over, and if it's not, then we are under. So right now, obviously, we are under. But what happens if we take another item? Let's say this has a minus in it, so it causes this number to show up. So it's going to show up here as well. Then obviously the budget left will be above the budget. So we are going to be soon over budget. Autoboost takes this value and applies it to the status column. In a few seconds, there you go. So here's the recipe that does this. So when this budget left, and this is also a mirror column, as we've just seen in the previous recipes, we are taking the calculated value of the formula column, a native Monday formula column, results locally to a status column. So imagine anything you can do with that. Basically, just anything that triggers on a different board, you can just take any value you want from it, do a formula on it, whatever you'd like, whether it's numbers, timelines, and so on, and applying the result locally so you can monetize it. I don't know, view it in dashboards, send notifications, whatever you want. So this is another very strong feature. All right, so final feature I want to show you when it comes to mirror columns is the ability to change a local column and setting the result to multiple connected columns from different boards. So here's the recipe. When a local status column changes, and this can be whatever column you want, it could be numbers, connect column, text, basically anything. We're simply going to take the value that we've just changed and set the result to the mirror column, which is, in our case, approved budget. So you can see here on the mirror column that we have 3 different connected boards with 3 different status columns. And 10 of those are declined, and this one is also declined, just different colors because it's from a different board. So by changing this to, let's say, approved, all those 11 items are soon going to be populated with the approved label. This pretty much, yeah, as you can see, all of those are populated now. This gives you the ability to have like a high level board, and you can quite easily just spread a value across all boards. So if the budget is approved and I want everyone to know, I can just project this value to all of those columns on different boards.